Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of The Late Drop presented by Future Fins. Whether I'm surfing small waves or surfing giant waves, Future the fins I trust. They've come out with some amazing waves that save our lives on the biggest days, so support them because they support us. On today's episode, we have Peru's Gabriel Villaran, an amazing surfer who's come up through the ranks, multiple national titles from Peru, won an ISA World Team title with Peru in his hometown. He charges massive waves and is on the search for some new waves in his home country. So I hope you enjoy the episode because I did.
I just thought, oh man, I literally just almost died.
This day just had that feel like every wave coming in was the wave of the day.
There was like a glass ceiling that was just shattered. And the next thing you know, it was like 10 levels up. Like, this is the experience I've been waiting my whole life for.
All right, I'm stoked to have my friend Gabriel Villaran from Peru here on the Late Drop podcast. Thanks for taking the time, Gabriel.
Hi, Jamie. Stoked to be here with you guys.
Yeah, man. I think we were just talking a little bit off air about it, but what a great time for Peruvian surfing at the moment with the ISA Worlds and the Olympics coming up. And I've been taking some close notice because I'm here in Central America and Costa Rica with the family at the moment. So, yeah, just take us what it's like to have all four, the two men and two women, qualify for the Olympic Games representing Peru. I know you guys take surfing very seriously and Peru loves their surfing. So how amazing is it for the country of Peru to have those guys and girls to cheer for in the coming Olympics?
Yeah, it's really, it was really emotional on the last event in El Salvador because we didn't expect the four of them qualifying. That was the goal, but on my case and a lot of our friends, we all thought that they would need to qualify or advance until Sunday, the finals, because we knew only top 5 would be able to qualify. So Saturday they start with the first news that Sofia qualified because the Japanese moved forward, and I don't know how, but it's a little bit complicated that the way this qualify Olympic has been going. I think we all agree on that, and I seriously didn't expect that. And we start cheering for Sofia, and then Luca and Miguel made their heat, and that also secured them for a spot through this event. Luca already qualified on the Pan American, so it was a little bit of a mess in terms of like understanding information, but at the end we were all cheering, and it was really emotional because we know how hard it's to qualify for anything, for the QS, the CT, for the Olympics. It has been a really long way for all the surfers. So yeah, we were really happy. All of them are kind of like my brothers, and we are a really tight community. So a couple tears came through for sure.
Yeah, it was funny because I met Miguel for the first time actually at a big wave event at Pico Alto Challenge a few years back, and this small little skinny kid ripping on his backhand, and it's so cool to see him, end up being at the Olympic Games. It's crazy to think that surfing is going to be there in Tokyo in just a few weeks, in maybe 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's coming up soon, and I know I have seen how these guys have been training really hard to qualify through the Pan Americans or through El Salvador, and yeah, it's I don't know. It's a big event coming up for surfing. It's going to be the first time, and we don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully the waves are great. So, all the spectators and all the audience online or the TV, they enjoy as much as we enjoy surfing. And that's the whole, for me, in my opinion, is the whole point, that people that never have seen surfing in their life, they can actually understand and see how cool the sport is and how we depend on nature and hopefully, I'm pretty sure, but they're going to be really good interviews about how the approach of the boards, the the tools, the equipment. So it's gonna be cool to see how the Olympics covers surfing in particular. So let's see how it goes. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fun to watch, and it's gonna be cool.
And has Peru, as a country, really gotten behind the athletes, the surfers? Is it mainstream news? Is it on the TV in the newspapers? Is it a big deal?
Yeah, it was. Most of it was huge during the Pan American Games, 2019. I'm pretty sure it was, because we didn't have that many gold medals in all the sports that we had on that event. And then when surfing started that week or that weekend, we start, doing really good through all the rounds, all the the categories. So we ended up being the sport with most medals in the Pan American event. So, and it was live through TV, and I had to go and do some commentating on how it was and why the scores and why those waves and how they fell on the wave, because a lot of people had never seen surfing before.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see how big surfing got into from one weekend to the next week. So we've been struggling for a really long time, but then results have been coming up, and it's been great, being part of this amazing growth sport in Peru and Latin America.
Yeah, I feel like it's not just the surfers that are going to have a chance to do it show it to the world, but it's the people that they get to go to the Olympics, to commentate, to tell the story, to really tell the people that have never watched it, like you just said, like that's a very important role for, all the people that are going to be involved behind the scenes and doing those interviews, is to really tell the story of surfing. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I think. And I can't wait to see that. But taking a step back to you, I mean, you were born in Lima, right? In Peru. Like, what was it like growing up as a kid? Was surfing something that, because I know that your dad, correct me if I'm wrong, but your dad was a 3-time runner-up in the national surfing titles?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so I'm guessing, obviously, he's a surfer. You're obviously gonna, follow in his footsteps. But what was it like growing up as a kid in Peru? Where, I'm sure you played soccer and football as well, but was surfing a big part from day one?
Yes, it was a big part since I was going to the Waikiki Club in Miraflores. It's in front of the ocean and in the middle of the city, and that's where my first memories of watching, my dad surfing, boards, friends. So I grew up with my brother and my mom and my dad in Waikiki Club, watching this natural lifestyle all around surfing, and that's how I ended up, getting my first board, getting my first waves right there in front of Miraflores. And I think the positive thing, sometimes positive, sometimes not that positive, about Peruvian surfing community is that it's kind of small. It's pretty small. So we know almost everybody knows each other, and we feel like a big family. And after that, I ended up being on the same school, in the same grade as Sophia's brother, Matias. He's my same age, and since I started surfing, I already knew he was a surfer because of Sophia, their family, and our dads used to know and used to hang out. So it kind of went pretty natural for me to start surfing and to start getting into this amazing lifestyle. And then all the contests started since we were kids. My dad used to give me a lot of advice. So yeah, I don't remember wanting something different in the school. Everyone plays soccer and stuff but my mind was always back into surfing, back into my friends from the beach, and then we have another club here in Punta Hermosa. That's where I live now. It's called Contiki, and this club was founded by surfers that they're already coming from the Waikiki club, but they figured out that in Punta Hermosa they had all these great waves, and they organized. I'm pretty sure it was the first or the second world champ or the world championship here in Punta Hermosa, and they had an event where Australians were coming, guys from Hawaii, California, and Peru was a big hub for surfing in that time, and yeah, like we started with Felipe Pomar, one of the first world champions, and from there everything I think followed kind of natural, and we had ups and downs. Magu De La Rosa with Maki and Titi, that's Cristobal's dad, used to go to Hawaii. And back in the day, Gordo Barreda and Chino Malpartida were going to Hawaii. They were really important surfers from the North Shore. They were really close to the Hawaiian. So there was a little gap in between those generations, and then us with Sofia, Alvaro, me, Cristobal. They're coming up to Hawaii again, and we feel great because we had a really cool history, and we like big waves. We like heavy waves. So I don't know. It's been cool seeing how everything unfolds, and now the next generations, as Miguel and the next kids, they're falling too, and they like big waves, and they like to, they're really proud of where they were coming from. So it's been really cool to see how it has been growing.
Yeah, it seems like there's a really good connection between Peru and Hawaii, and obviously I surf with Ricardo Pomar, Felipe's brother, at Sunset Point all the time. He lives just across the street, and I actually see Felipe every now and then. He's around Hawaii still a little bit. What was it like? I mean, I know you guys have Pico Alto right there in Punta Hermosa, an amazing big wave, but when you're growing up, I know that, if I'm reading right, I think it said in 1993 was your first ever contest, representing the Waikiki club, and you finished third, So from that time, moving up, you're surfing smaller waves and all that. But when does like the big waves sort of bug, or, you start to head to Punta Hermosa more and you start to see bigger waves? When does that kick in for you?
Yeah, I was a full small wave surfer, and I hated kind of not big waves, but like bigger waves, because I was scared and all that comes when you're growing up. But then when I start coming to Punta Hermosa often, because there's a lot of friends, my dad's friends were here, and I start hanging out here. We start seeing waves at Punta Rocas, Contiki, Pico Alto, and summertime when the sun comes out and the weather is amazing. Pico Alto breaks maybe in between 10 feet, 15 feet, because it's really consistent. We see almost every day breaking white waters and waves there. So summertime, there's always people going there and surfing Pico Alto, because it's kind of friendly when it's small. There's no rocks in the front. It looks amazing from almost all parts of Punta Hermosa. So one day I remember hanging out with my friends. I had 13 or 14 years old, and one of our, we were like a little gang of 5 or 6 guys, and they were like, "Hey, Pico Alto is breaking. Let's go and check it out." And we went check it out, and yeah, it was nice. It was actually not that small. And then we were trying to find boards, and I was supposed to just go out there and have a look and sit in the channel. And the friends always, "Hey, let's get a wave, let's get a wave, let's get a wave." And we ended up, suddenly
pushing each other.
Yeah, pushing each other and just, trying to get closer to the wave. And then Pico Alto, it's a classic wave that the current on the channel kind of like goes out of sea. So it kind of pushes to the outside. And I ended up, getting a little wave and then just sitting there just to watch. There was maybe between 15 to 18 foot waves. So it was not small, but it was not big. And suddenly me and my friend that we were watching, we ended up kind of like close to the peak, the main peak, a little bit on the shoulder, but in the main peak. And we saw this huge set coming up, and we start paddling out really fast because my friend was like, "Hey, there's a big set coming! Like, let's paddle for our lives." So we passed the first one. It was kind of like, I remember it was solid, and then I didn't want to even look at the wave, and then we passed that first one, and then my friend was like, "Hey, are you going or I'm going?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was kind of like freeze. I was petrified, and he was like, "Okay, you go and then go on the next one." And like, so I had to turn around. I turned and then I start paddling, and I had a late drop, and I had to go straight because the board was old school, like really, really old school, and I had no chance. But I made the drop, and I got really worked, and I remember having a really bad pounding. And then when I come up, I saw my friend that he told me to go on the first one, dropping the second one, and that was my initiation on big waves. And that friend, I still share waves with him. He's part of like the really old. His dad, he's part of the community of the guys who founded Contiki, and really good friends of my dad. So it's really tight, Pico Alto, big wave, and Punta Hermosa is really tight, and we like to have that family here.
Yeah. I mean, you guys just had some amazing waves. I just saw not long ago. I saw some clips of you paddling, and it reminded me of while we're talking about Pico Alto, why not explain what type of wave it is? It's from what I can remember to it. You can sort of, because I had Miguel to lead in a heat, and I remember I was sitting outside, and he was just picking off these inside waves and going to town doing snaps. But it seems like you could sit outside and wait to get like a little chip, but you could also, the ones that didn't cap out there would sort of roll through and then come on, jack up on the inside. So give us a little bit of a run through of the wave that Pico Alto is.
It's crazy because Pico Alto sometimes looks like a mushy wave, but then when you're out there, you kind of feel the power, and we have already a lot of stories about two-wave hold down because it's really, really deep, And at the same time, you can wait for waves outside, like you said, get the chip, and some of those waves, the biggest waves, are not as hollow and pocket shape, when it comes all the way to the I don't know what's the word, but it has like
the inside.
To the inside, yeah. The bottom has a really good, when the waves come and on high tide, you can see that they wait, they hold, and then they get this amazing shape, and it's kind of like a long wave. That's what we like, because it's not just a drop. You can get maybe 2 or 3 drops. You have the big wall. You can do turns, and lately we've been getting the toe boards because we wanted to do turns out there, because it's a super nice wall. And besides that, you can get lefts too. Not much wall, but you can get some lefts, and usually it's a little bit bumpy, so because of the wind, and it's a little bit hard sometimes to make the drop and knife and start, getting your line. But we really enjoy that wave because it's really, we feel it like a really powerful wave, and when it gets big and with the right conditions, you can feel, the energy that this wave gives you, so it's cool.
Yeah, I can vouch for it. It's a legitimate wave. It's and like you say, it has those little sections. It's nearly like Mavericks. Mavericks, you can chip in and take the drop in the bowl. But if you want to get over that next section, it'll give you a chance to go along and pull into like the little inside barrels or go in the phlegm balls there. So it gives you opportunities to keep riding it, and that sort of reminds me of what Pico Alto does sometimes. I remember that wave, the last one of the last WSL contest there, where Makua got the chip in on the outside, and as he was coming on the inside, he fully free fell and nearly planted on his face, but then connected and got a really good wave on the inside. And so what a cool wave.
And that day also Twiggy got a huge wave outside that didn't have that shape. It was more like an outside wave, a little more mushy, and that's how it works. Sometimes with lower tide, the waves break really far out, and sometimes it doesn't has that amazing shape of like hollow and. But I remember one time that we had the juniors, the ISA junior ISA games here, and Cajea was here coaching, Cajea Hart, and the waves were huge. It dialed up with a really big swell, and he told me the very day that was big, he was like, "Oh, we went for a paddle out there, Pico Alto, to see how it was, to get a couple waves, and it was solid, it was 20 foot, some 25 footers, and we didn't." And winter time, the worst part of our winter is that we get a lot of fog, and sometimes you can't see land at all, and you're out there by yourself. So he was like, "Oh, I couldn't see, we didn't know where to sit, and there was these huge waves coming up." So for Cajea to have that impression of a big wave, it assures that it's a solid wave, and it gets you a little bit scared because there's a lot of water moving, and that's what we like from Pico Alto. There's a lot of water and energy out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So going back again, so you've had quite a career still up to this date. But if I try and just go back, I think 2002 you were a national champion in Peru, and then I'm guessing in 2003 is when you decided to turn professional. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So and that was, at that stage, is that just the local scene? I know you guys have a lot. I think you won the ALAS, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, the ALAS Latin American Championships in 2005 and 2006. Is that sort of just a contest run throughout Chile, Peru, and all Central and South America?
Yeah. Right after I came out of high school, 2002, at the end of 2002, I became the national champion juniors and open at the same time. And I got a ticket. One of the prizes were a ticket for Hawaii, all included. So I was already kind of like, I don't know. I didn't want to go to Hawaii yet, and I had the ticket, so I had to go next season. And that was cool. I went to Hawaii for the first time. But before that, my dad passed away during my last year of high school. And that was a shocker for me because it kind of brought me down about everything that I wanted to do, train or contest or whatever. And he was a big part of my life as a surfer and as a dad. And so it was kind of hard for me in that time. And then I kind of like put all that energy into surfing, and I don't know, it was my way of getting through life at that moment. And my mom was super supportive about that. And the other good thing on that time, that was my mom and my family couldn't pay me for any studies or university. So my only chance at the moment was to give it a go with surfing. So I knew 300% that it was my kind of like my only opportunity or my only door at the moment. So I went through that. I went to Hawaii. I had a really good experience in Hawaii. I went with Matias, Sophia's brother, and then I ended up staying longer. I met Strider. Strider, because I was already with Quicksilver, I knocked the door. Chad Wells told me, "Hey, Strider is gonna interview you. Go to the Pipe House, and maybe you can stay there for a few days." So I ended up staying there for a few days. Strider was my dad at that moment, if I can say that. And he introduced me to all the locals, and at the same time I was kind of scared, seeing all these guys that I've been seeing on videos and stuff like that. But the good thing is that I was not scared of Pipeline, and I got really motivated about staying there, and I guess I did a good work or a good impression surfing those waves. So Strider was like, "Hey, stay whenever you want, and then you're welcome to come anytime. So that was my internally, for me personally, that was my biggest motivation in surfing at that moment. So Hawaii can turn your life really really fast in positive or negative way.
Yeah.
So at that time it was positive, and I came back home and I started training, and I started doing the Latin American tour that is called Alas. And then Chad Wells told me, hey, if you win the Alas, we're gonna keep you, we're gonna keep supporting you about whatever you want to do. So I ended up winning the tour, and I was like, hey, Chad, you told me, you're gonna support me, so what's next? And then I started doing the QS, and I got, stuck a little bit in there for a long time because I guess I was not part of it as a competitive or whatever. And then I started competing in big waves. So, and I had a couple good results, and that's how everything unfolded right after school. So everybody knows.
No, I see. You had great success. In 2008, you became the Peruvian national champion again. Mm-hmm. And I think in 2008, you won the 3-star event at Arica in Chile, the QS. And we all know what type of wave that is. That's a hollow, heavy wave. And as I can see, there's a trend in where you're starting to do well in contests. Heavy, barreling, thick waves, like light loving backdoor, off the wall and pipeline. And I think you won the Puerto Escondido QS event as well that year. So, 2008 was an incredible year. Then 2009, third in the ISA World Surfing Games in Costa Rica. And then your first big wave, big result was second in Chile in Pichimilu. So at that stage, your career is sort of like really starting to gain some momentum, and obviously being sponsored by Quicksilver, getting to state the pipe house and stuff. It's full steam, and I'm guessing that there's a trend of starting to think of like, well, I'm doing really well in big, heavy, thick water waves. Maybe I should start to transition into more bigger stuff than staying on the QS.
Yeah, it was hard because I really wanted to qualify for the CT. I wanted to be the first Peruvian or Latin American guy to qualify. And at that moment, I didn't have the support that all the kids have now, the coaches, the budgets. But at least I tried, and I am happy that I had a lot of years trying and meeting people and learning. And I saw Owen Wright passing through me. I saw Kalohe passing through me. I saw Gabriel. I saw a lot of guys, and but then I started doing pretty good in other kind of waves. And then the Todos Santos event, I think it was 2009. I was in Hawaii, and then I got the call of Gary was saying that maybe I got a spot there. And then while I was flying back from Honolulu to Los Angeles with my girlfriend, because we were in Hawaii, just enjoying Hawaii and surfing Hawaii. The huge earthquake from Chile, the last one that was like 9 point something, took place. And then when I landed in LA, we saw the news. I started calling home. So everything was okay, and it was a big mess in Chile. And Ramon, was freaking out, because we were all going to Todos Santos. And then I ended up borrowing a super board from a store, driving through the border, and then going to Ensenada. Next day, the waves were huge. I never surfed Todos Santos before. The good thing is that I was on heat number 4, and I was able to check, how everyone was getting waves. And I was the last heat of first round, so I was heat number 4, and Greg was heat number 3. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. My plan was to just go and check out how Greg was doing, and where he was sitting.
Well, Greg's the master at Todos. He's a good guy to follow.
Yes. So I kind of like sit there and see and saw how Greg was, flowing on those type of waves, and I was like, okay, I know where I have to sit and just wait and whatever. And then I ended up sharing my first wave with Dave Wassel. That was a really good wave. And then I just sat there in the point, just waiting for another big wave, and a huge set came. Everyone already got waves, and I start paddling with Dave again, all the way to the outside. I was like, oh, in what time he's gonna, turn back and try to get the wave? And I don't know why, but he was just trying to get away.
Get
and
out.
a lot of the people on the channel was like, starting to scream, go, go, go. So I just turned and I went, and I think I got the biggest wave I still got in my pocket, and it was probably the best ride I ever got yet. And that's the turning point for me for big waves. I knew that I was on the right path, and a lot of people were cheering me, to keep going on big wave. And I ended up getting the biggest wave award from that event. And I remember that event being really special. There was no money, only for the love. And I knew Garrett, Mike Parsons, Shane, Ikaika, Healy, Twiggy, Ramon, Cole. There was a bunch of like big names out there, and I saw them or compete with them for the first time. So I knew that it was something special. And from that on, I just tried to keep doing the same.
Yeah, it's amazing how there's certain moments in time that you remember so vividly. Like that was an amazing story, and and that's the thing, right? Like there's no money involved. It's just turn up and show up, and to be paddling out over a 20 to 25 foot wave and actually stop, swing the board, and commit to that. That's love. That's for the love of it. You know what I mean? And it's good to know, in your mind that like I wanted that wave because I just wanted it as a personal challenge. Not because you're going to get a photo or you're going to win $50,000, because it's for the pure love. And that's the beauty of big wave surfing, is that that those moments come around all the time, and you get to share them with some pretty rad people. So yeah, I think so. That was in 2009. Were you saying?
Pretty sure it was 2009 or 2010.
Yeah, and then I think in 2010 you got third place in the Nelscott Invitational as well. So you've definitely done the circuit. I remember I think we got on the tour around about the same time, and there was a lot of events. Punta Galea, Todos, Chile, Pico Alto, and then the Jaws, and that would come in a little bit later. You were actually, speaking of the Jaws event, I think you made it all the way to the final in the first ever year they had it, right? You got all the way to the final that year, that really big windy day.
That was my first time surfing Jaws also. And,
crazy.
I had no chance. And I ended up getting some cool waves. I made the final. It was a crazy final because not that many people got waves. The wind was crazy strong, sideways as always. And for me, it was a dream because I never expected to go to Jaws on the first time and just get into the final with all these crazy guys. But as you said, I got a final in Punta Galea, I got a final in Jaws, and I got another final in Punta Lobos in Chile, and then Peru. Not all the same year, but I'm pretty sure that the first year that we had the tour, I ended up getting second after Makua. And I remember Makua in every event telling me, start making finals, because we both were making a lot of finals, and he got better results than I did. But at the same time, I was over the moon, just doing what I would love to do, and getting results, and being there, with the best guys on earth doing this crazy sport lifestyle. So I was stoked. I was really stoked.
And then you were chasing wave, like you sort of, there's, really you start as a big wave surfer sort of chasing swells, because the tour is not like, there's only a certain amount of people on tour, and before the tour there was no tour. So big wave surfing was all about just being at the right spot at the right time, and I remember starting to see you everywhere. And I actually, that Pico Alto event, I think the one that McCool won, that we jumped on the plane and all went to Porto, and Porto was giant.
Giant.
Yeah, those next 2 days. That's that year that Dorian had that ride of the year free fall. But there was 2 days after Yeah, I remember going straight from the airport in Lima, trying to get to Mexico, and then there was just 2 days of ginormous waves at Porto, and you spent a lot of time down there as well.
Yeah, Puerto is for me and a lot of the Peruvian guys and the Latin American guys is our kind of like our Hawaii in a way, and it's a really good school for us, going to anywhere in the world, to Hawaii, whatever. But it's a really special place for me since I've been going there for a really long time. I got really memorable rides out there. And that year that we chased as well from Peru to Mexico, 7 a.m. Or 7:30, Shane got that wave of the ride of the year, and then I was out there the same session, and around 11 o'clock, I had no good waves, no good rides, and I was like, okay, I want to go in, get my coconut water, and finish this day that it's been chaotic, and everybody was. I think it was one of the first swells that a lot of people show up. A lot of the good guys show up. And a lot of the guys were under gun. They got eight O's or 9 O's. I remember that not that many people got solid boards, and at the time I brought one from home, 9.4, and I felt pretty good, but I didn't find any good wave until 9.30 or 9.20 that I got this wave that was kind of ugly because it was kind of white and brown.
Yeah, I remember. I remember the wave. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy because I never thought that I was gonna get so wild, and the way that the wave ended, it was really particular and really really scary. But I ended up being nominated as a ride of the year with Shane, and I think it was Dingo Morrison that got a wave on the right. And then the skimboarder.
Donkey.
Donkey, good friend of us, got that wave on Puerto with a huge wave, no vest, just his skimboard. It was crazy. And I ended up getting second with the ride of the year. I really wanted to win that thing because that was going to be like really, really, really important for my career and for my people, for Peru. But I was there again with the best guys out there, and being there was already a great result for me. So it was cool.
Yeah. What would you say to is there a young crew at the moment, like from Peru, that are charging and sort of have that desire to follow in your footsteps? Is there a young hungry bunch of kids, or is it sort of sometimes it's weird how there's little generation stops and skips, and then
it happens all around the world. It's just with us. Because it seems that it jumps from 2 or 3 generations. There's not much going on, and I don't know why, but with in my case, there's a good generation with Sofia and a bunch of my friends that we've been trying to chase some swells and getting some waves all around the world, and I'm pretty sure that that the next generation after us is Miguel and Cristobal and a couple other guys that they follow these steps and they follow this kind of vision or passion for big waves. And after that, I don't see many guys at the moment or at the present moment that they're already chasing and they're already getting huge rides. So, but we have younger kids that they're already surfing Pico Alto, these last swells. They have 15 years old, and maybe some of them have 13, 16. So there's a big gap between Cristobal, Miguel, and these guys. As you said, it's jumping maybe 2 generations. But I think Miguel and Cristobal, and then the Correa brothers, and a couple of the guys, Alvaro, me, we still there. So I think we have, 5-10 more years being there, so we can, pass the torch to the new generation. But we feel really lucky that we can do what we do, and I have plenty of projects searching for new waves in Peru, So I think everything is unfolding how it should go, and hopefully the next generations are motivated with all the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, it's so important to have good role models, and you guys, what you guys are doing, and even for Miguel and Cristobal, all those guys that have been such high level, shortboarders, QS, and all that, even going to the Olympics, and once that side of the career is over, it seems like it's really easy if you have the mindset to surf big waves. It's very easy to transition into extend your career into big waves and start to do that. So the young kids from Peru have a great role models like yourself and that to look up to, and you guys will be able to give back to them, and then hopefully in 10 years when those guys and girls are in their 20s in their prime, there's 3 or 4 Peruvians on the big wave world tour or something like that. So there's a good footsteps to follow.
Yeah, I agree, and all the work that we've been doing in big wave for the QS, or on that side, if we add that surfing is going to the Olympics, and we have 4 surfers. I don't know how many countries have 4 surfers going to the Olympics. I'm pretty sure there's going to be only 2 or 3, but I think that will give really good motivation for next generations, and yeah, we're gonna keep doing what we love. We feel really lucky and proud of being Peruvian. We have really good connections and friends in Chile. We go to Chile all the time. We go to Puerto and share with the locals there, Coco and Roger and all these guys that have really good talent. So Latin America, it's a cool community that we know each other from a really long time, and we have these potential waves that give us, the opportunities to become what we want to achieve. And yeah, it's kind of cool. The only not that good of a part of being Latin America is the exposure that we feel that we don't have as Europeans, Australians, California, Hawaii. I'm not saying that that it's easy for them, because if we take the example of Australians and Hawaiians, there's so many guys with good talent that they don't have sponsors and they have to work for a living. And we at the same time have different struggles. Like we don't have that much exposure. So it's like a balance and stuff like that. We feel like sometimes we deserve a little more exposure, but we can't
it's hard when you don't have the
control.
Yeah, it's hard to not have the backing, because the sponsors will give you the ability to go to Hawaii and make a name for yourself, or go to Jaws and spend a winter, or go to Mavericks for a swell, and and as all it takes sometimes is one special wave and everyone knows your name in an instant, but to spend that money to get there, you need the support. So yeah, it's a fine line of do you spend your life savings chasing your dream? Do you wait to try and get that sponsorship to get the exposure? It's a balancing act, and I can definitely see that you guys, guys and girls, it's definitely there's a struggle there, but all the more power to the people like yourself who have carved out a career and showed that it's possible, for the younger generation, that hey, even though we are from maybe a little bit of a minority country, but we can be successful and make a name for ourselves and do a good job.
Yeah, and at the same time, we know a lot of people in the industries. In the companies, any kind of companies, working in Peru, we have the chance to get to the marketing guy, because it's really small. Lima, it's a city where you can actually find anyone, or you can connect to a lot of people that has a good place in the company. So at the same time, we had support from a lot of companies that if you go to other countries, they don't support surfing. But because we are in Peru, and the capital of Peru, it's Lima, in front of the ocean, and everybody loves the ocean and the beach, people get related, and we have a lot of support for surfing now. And that's something that maybe is not happening in other parts of the world. So it's something for sure positive.
What are some of your best memories? And look, let's not just say from surfing, but also big wave surfing. because I see that you actually won the ISA World Games in Peru, right?
Yeah, with the team. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what are some of your fondest memories from, say, let's just say from just surfing in general, but then also, some of your fondest memories in big wave surfing?
Definitely, the ISA games that we won in Peru was one of the highlights because Peru never had a title before, and we were a really good team. We were surfing and trying to compete in our waves, our ocean, and we during QS or big wave events, you don't have that chance, of having the coaches there and having your people, your family, the support. We always talking about hopefully one day competing in Peru. So that day came through. We had a really good coach. Actually, it was an Australian guy. That I can't believe I just forgot his name. Um, he lives in the Gold Coast. He's a
I know, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about, but
I can't believe I forgot his name.
it'll come.
Keep talking.
It'll come
up.
later.
Davo Davidson. You guys.
Dave Davidson. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a really particular coach because he was all about emotions and feelings. Obviously, he was giving a really good information technically and everything, but he was like he just it was a cool story because we have a nice like temple right here in Punta Hermosa, like 15 minutes, and he was like, hey, what is this thing on the road? What is that thing? Oh, that's a temple from the Incas. And, oh, we have to go tomorrow there. And I was like, what? So next day we went up there and we kind of did like a meditation with him, and he kind of like expressed us that we have to feel, this is us, whatever. And so it was a really cool story because I never met this guy before, and in the second or third day we were already like, admiring this type of information, this type of feeling and energy that he was giving us. And we ended up winning the event over Australia, that it was really close to us, and Australia always winning titles. So for us, it was crazy to finally achieve this title. After that, the Peruvian government gave us all the medals and all the recognition. Our names are on the top of the national stadium. After you win a gold medal, that's what happens here. So it was a really cool memory. My mom was still with me at the moment, and it's something that we wanted to achieve for a very long time, and we did it. So it was a really cool story.
Yeah, that's awesome. He was just trying to tap into the Peruvian history and the energy and give you guys, obviously coming from Australia, that was a smart way to approach it. That was pretty cool. He's a classic character, that guy.
I ended up knowing from a lot of people that he's a legend, and I ended up I shared some ways with him in Desert Point, but I never knew him. But I think there's like really special people in the world that can communicate not only with words but with energy, and Davo was one of those guys from the first day. We knew that he was gonna be great for this event, and it was really cool to have him.
Yeah. And what about some big wave stuff? Take us through a couple of your top moments, sessions from around the world. What are some of those really like, oh my God, moments like that you've had surfing, throughout the world?
Well, back to Strider. He believed in me, in Peru, in Cristobal. So every time there was opportunity for him to include us into surf trips. I remember the time where there was surf trips. There's not much surf trips anymore with with the brands and with the team riders. And at that time there was Fuller, Ray Craig, Reef, Strider, a couple more guys, and he included me into a couple of Tahiti trips. And one of those trips, the waves got huge and crazy towing day. Strider put me into a couple waves, and I remember my first ride was amazing. It was a really intense barrel, not that big, but it was solid, and I was really stoked. And I thought it was kind of easy because you can read the wave and you have speed and everything. I was like, okay, let's go. I want to go another one. So I went for another one, and I got a little bigger wave. I was a little too deep, I got cocky and got a little too deep, and then I ended up on the I don't know how to say it, on the washing machine.
Yeah.
Crazy, the ride coming up to you and the set at the back, and I got really scared after that wipeout. But that was when I was still in my mid 20s, and I that gave me a lot of confidence for whatever it was coming up, because with the people that I was hanging out, with the waves that we were dealing, and with a good ride that I had, and just being there with those guys doing what we love, and understanding the consequences of those big waves. Just gives you a little more motivation sometimes. So at that moment, I'm not sure how it's gonna unfold if I go right now and have the same situation, but at that moment I got hungrier. I wanted more, and I knew that I had some good talent to work with. So yeah, it was cool.
Speaking of that, where are you? Where is Gabriel Villaran in 2021? Where, is the hunger to, chase waves still there? Is the hunger to push yourself in heavy water still there? Or are you just happy? You mentioned earlier that you guys are, scouring the coastline for new waves. I'm sure that you guys have some good waves that no one knows about up your sleeve. And so where's your headspace these days?
We all are in. I know I don't have much time left for this body, so I want to take advantage of the next 10 years that I have ahead. That I know I'm healthy and I know I'll be strong. So um, with the COVID situation, I never had that much time at home. So we developed a project about searching new waves in Peru. That we know there's a bunch of new or possible new waves. So um, I ended up, you know, um, how to say, going through this project with Red Bull. That is the sponsor that I have since day one, and yeah, we already took two trips. One of them went all the way south, and then the other one went a little bit north. Both of them with great waves.
Nice.
Yeah, we're really stoked because we just found really good potential big waves, and we had cool stories. It's coming up in Red Bull TV sometime soon. At the same time, Red Bull Surfing told me that they want to include me in a project with Nacho Gonzalez, with Ian Walsh, and Chumbo. It's called Why We Go, and it's about why we take the
The risks.
the decisions to go through big with big swells or any waves that we are hunting. So at the moment, I'm in this really cool projects that I'm really stoked. I had a couple injuries lately, but I'm back on it, and I'm thinking about going to Mexico next week because there's another good swell coming up. So
Yeah.
I'm just I don't know. I still feel that I have that energy of jumping into planes and performing the very next day. Um, I don't know. I feel lucky to be healthy because I just went through a couple injuries, and my mom passed away, kind of had cancer. So I don't know if it's because we're getting older or what, and you can tell me from your experience. But now I see how fragile life can be, and I'm just trying to take as much as I can every day and every next trip. So yeah, I'm motivated. I'm not how to say, I'm not slowing down.
Yeah. So I'm not. I don't want. I'm not going to obviously ask you where those waves were, but are they paddleable waves, or are they more like slab type waves that you guys are chasing after?
Basically, the one we went south, kind of close to Chile, they're paddleable. It's a beach break. It has really good potential, and we only surf it with a jet ski assistant because it was a little chaotic, but it's a really good way for paddling too. And we only went there once, so we have no much information, just one swell.
Yeah.
And then the other one that went to a little north, Lima, we found two towing waves, kind of slabby, and then two other ones that are paddable. So at the same time, we only went two times.
Yeah,
we need more.
It's awesome.
More swell.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's got to be so much more along this coastline. You know, so much more to explore. So many more waves that have been discovered. And I feel like, you know, that's the beauty of what we do as well, is that you never know what's around the corner. You know, you could just, you know, if you're willing to give up sort of a guaranteed session, you know, that you've surfed a bunch of times, to go and explore and search out, you never know what's around the corner. And I think that's the beauty of you know, being the traveling big wave surfer, is that there's so many more waves out there that haven't been found yet.
Yeah, it's cool because one of them we just found it because we were just killing some time, just, you know, watching the coast, and then somehow there was a solid slab that just exploded in front of us, and then we're like, oh, what's that? And then we started, you know, looking for that wave, and we, next thing we knew there was a wave there. And so it was really cool to, like you said, sometimes we don't want to let those, you know, secure swells that we know we're gonna have fun and whatever, but it's kind of cool just to. I went with Cristobal, and we were talking about, oh, so cool just to like drive slow, you know, and just look at the ocean and at the reef and stuff like that, because all the time we're rushing, you know, oh, the swell is coming there tomorrow and we have to have everything prepared, you know. So having those type of trips, it's also really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. So take us through a couple of your worst experiences with heavy water. You know, just let the audience know what it's like to, you know, to be in trouble. Where's the worst wipeouts you've had?
Probably the worst one. I had two that I can remember. One of them is in Pipeline. It was in 2018 or 17. I'm pretty sure it was 17. I ended up going one morning. That day, I was going back home at night. So that was my last session in the morning. And Pipeline looked kind of fun. Some of them, they were breaking a second reef. I paddled out, and then as soon as I got there, a wave popped out, and there wasn't that many guys out, and somehow I was on the spot. And then I started doing the bottom turn, and then I knew that the wave was kind of like crumbling, or the barrel wasn't looking that good, so I kind of wanted to go straight, and then I was not going either straight or going to the barrel. I was like right on where the lip, you know, impacts the water, and then I was in the middle. The wave broke in my back, and one of my left foot kind of got stuck in between the board, you know, the energy of the wave, and my tibia broke like really fast. It was really violent. I don't remember much until I was in the white water trying to come up to surface, and then that's when I realized that my left leg was not working at all. And then I kind of after some seconds I knew that or I felt like my foot was, you know, just moving really weird, and I knew that something was really, really bad. I had no pain at the moment, so I started screaming for people to come. I remember grabbing my ankle just to get it, you know, tight and not having it like really
flap
like
around.
a jellyfish or whatever. And then I remember a lot of people just helping me, going all the way to the inside. I was lucky that there was people out there helping me. The lifeguards, they were not there yet because it was maybe 7:30 or 8 o'clock. And then they came. They kind of like make sure everything was good. The bone almost come out of the skin, so I had a how you guys call it?
Nearly a compound fracture.
Yeah. So the protocol for infection is different, and I had to go through the surgery that night. I had a broken leg from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. because the doctor was really busy that day. And then when he came in, he was like, "Hey, I already saw your X-rays. It's kind of bad, but don't worry, you're gonna be fine." I work with a lot of injuries, most of them with shark attacks, and he showed me a couple of pictures of what he deals with, and he was like, "Hey, this is not even close. You're gonna be surfing in the next 4 or 6 months, so it's fine." So
that must have felt good.
it felt good because I knew that this guy was all about, bringing me back to normal, and he kind of had a lot of experience. So I was happy about that. And then the recovery, it was fine. I was not struggling because the bone, when you have the bone, the bone sticks, and that's good. If the ligaments get torn or the ligaments broke apart, that's a heavy rehab that you have to go through. So it was okay. But it was kind of going back to surf pipeline. It was kind of like sketchy, and I was feeling nervous, but it was okay.
Yeah. And that's why you wore the ankle brace for a long time, right? It was that injury.
Yeah. And lately, I had another injury that it was kind of bad. Not injury, but I had a really bad wipeout, and I don't know if we should go through. We have time?
Yeah, okay? Go for it. Yeah. Everyone loves hearing a wipeout story.
Yeah, I was surfing Jaws the last time, and I really want to get barrel because the inside, gets, this ball that everybody loves to or willing to go through this huge ball and get barrel and just come out on the channel. So I was trying to get that kind of wave, and yeah, I remember dropping in a medium-sized wave. I kind of like start doing the bottom turn, but there was a big lump that my board had to go through, so I couldn't knife it correctly at the first time. So I had to let the board go through the lump and then try again, and I lost a second or a couple of feet or whatever. And then when I start knifing and trying to go into the ball, the same as pipeline, I knew that the wave was coming to me, and it kind of hit me in my back. I was already with my hand on the life vest, and I remember that super violent because the power of that wave it's crazy, and in less than 3 seconds I was hitting the reef, and when I hit the reef I was like, what I'm doing here, it's not right. This is not supposed to happen. So I knew something was really wrong, and then I hit the reef with my knee, and then the life vest or the impact vest, when I came out, and suddenly I came out, and the second wave was almost in my head. Sean Lopez, dad, Victor Lopez,
yeah,
picked me up. Everything was fine. I told him, "Fuck, I hit the reef." I was kind of scared, but I was okay. And I ended up, watching what happened to me. And I had a pretty bad cut in my knee, and the life vest or the impact vest was all torn up and really scratched. And I was like, fuck, I ended up maybe thinking about, it's cool to, try to go for these type of waves, but at the same time, the consequences can be really, really heavy. And that's when I hold my horses and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to a point and try to get another kind of wave. And so they kind of put me some cream or some tape, and I went out there, got a couple more waves, and yeah, that was it. But hitting the reef at Jaws, I thought it was impossible. I heard some stories, and I thought it was not possible, but it is.
Yeah. Well, I hit it as well the last contest, so I know how you feel. Yeah. So
what kind of wave was it?
It was the first wave of my contest, the last contest, the one where I fell from the sky and I just pin dropped down right on the North Peak. Yeah, and same thing, hit the bottom, went back over with it, and then within 2 seconds pinned on the bottom, just completely starfished on the bottom. And then the vest pull wouldn't even let me up. Took about 5 seconds, and then I slowly felt myself coming back up again. But yeah, the place is so violent and so crazy, and if you fall in the wrong place, it's not good. It's
I'm pretty sure that it has to be something with the whole barrel or the lip, the energy. If you go with that energy, you can easily go all the way to the reef, right?
Push you straight down. Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you feel like you have a really bad one and it's not so bad. And then sometimes, you're in a certain spot and you're just like, well, this is way worse. So I think sometimes it's just luck or bad luck, either way.
Yeah.
Well, Gabriel, hey, it's been awesome talking, mate. And like I said, it's Peruvian surfing right now is at an all-time high. It's great to see. Like I said, I've done two ISA world titles right there at Miraflores. I've been to that Waikiki Surf Club. It's got great history, and and I hope we get to surf sometime soon once all this COVID stuff's done. Hopefully, we get to share some waves and get to travel again.
Yeah, next week there's a nice swell if you want to come.
I know.
To Puerto.
I know, yeah.
It'll be cool. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share the stories. We've been looking into your career and your generation for a very long time. Your generation is the one that motivates my generation, and I feel really lucky to actually be part of the community, be your friend and friend of your friends, because that's the only way. In big wave surfing, that's the only way that we feel like a family, because we see each other so many times, and sometimes I see, what kind of board you are using, and sometimes you are looking someone else which fins. So we actually push each other a lot, and at the same time we want to see everybody safe and in land and the shore. So I'm stoked to be part of the community and be part of what we love to do. So I'm really thankful for this opportunity to share with you and the rest of the crew.
Yeah, no problem, Gabriel. It's we're stronger together. That's trying to create this big wave community. I think as a unit, if we're divided, if we're fractured, if everyone, it's not going to work. But as a group together, and we all need help around the world. We all travel and lose our boards or lose a wetsuit or need a board or need somewhere to stay. And I think that we've all been helped out somewhere around the world by someone. And I love it. That's why I love big wave surfing. The waves come second, the communities first, and the people we get to hang out with and share these amazing experiences with us. So I think you said it perfectly. And good luck with the future, buddy. And good luck with Peru with the Olympics. And I'll talk to you later, mate. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you. Last advice, go to the Bragg website. We have a lot of information there about safety and how we can deal with big wave surfing. And yeah, that's about it. Just being prepared for big waves. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks, brother.